Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to And Unity for All. So, Theresa May is making accusations that Russia poisoned double agent Andrei Skripal, Sergei Skripal, with a nerve agent. And there's nothing about this that makes any kind of sense. But yeah, that's not stopping her, and not stopping the UK Parliament from acting on this. So the timing of this is completely suspicious. It makes no sense at all. But let's take a look at all the facts here. All right, so to these accusations, Russia has requested a sample of the agent that they claim that the UK is claiming was used, and the police in Salisbury, where it happened, have not finished their own investigation. They're not pointing fingers at anyone. The police are not. So they request a sample of the nerve agent that was used and have been denied. Theresa May wants them to prove that they're not guilty without providing a sample or any evidence. I mean, we don't even know for certain that the actual nerve agent even exists in this instance. The Russian request was made in complete, consistency with the protocol of the OPCW, the Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, and under the Chemical Weapons Convention, which is signed by all members of the UN, including Russia and the UK. They have a specific protocol that is supposed to be followed in the event of a chemical weapons event. Hasn't happened. There's no indication that Theresa May has done this. She says that she's going to, but she's not waiting for any investigation to be done. She's not waiting for the police. She's not waiting for the OPCW. She has ejected 23 Russian diplomats from the UK. She wants to keep pushing for further actions to freeze Russian assets in the UK. And a lot of that, well, that ain't going to turn out well, because Russian investors have owned 20% of Rosneft, the Russian oil company. So freeze the assets of the UK, the Russian assets in the UK. Russia can freeze your assets in Russia, and they have no obligation to pay that back. Russia can eject any UK diplomats. Theresa May is claiming that RT in the UK is a propaganda outlet, just like they did, just like America has done, even though neither country can point to a single story on RT that they can claim is actually propaganda. Just because they're not critical of Putin or critical of Russia, they say that it's propaganda. And that doesn't instigate propaganda. That doesn't indicate it. No, that's not the definition of propaganda. Sometimes RT could be more critical of Russia at times, But, that's still not propaganda. Propaganda is spreading false information. All right, so Theresa May wants to increase the military spending, not only in the UK, but across all of NATO, to above 2% of GDP. Just like America has increased our spending on our War Department, for Russian hacking, we're spending, and which has never been proven, where we are spending an additional $80 billion a year. Theresa May saw that, and she wants a piece of that pie. Anyway, here are a few flaws in the claims that Russia did this. The agent Novichok that was allegedly used is not a single substance. It is a class of nerve agents. It comprises over 100 different compounds. They were devised in the Soviet Union decades ago in Uzbekistan. Well, first of all, Uzbekistan is no longer even part of Russia. And the location where it used to be produced no longer exists. The formula for the agent is, by chemical weapons terms, not even a secret anymore. Every country that has a chemical weapons research program knows the recipe. Apparently, it's an easy one to make. If you knew how, you could probably make it in your kitchen. I don't know. I'm not looking it up. I doubt that you're going to, Google it and find a recipe for it. But any chemical weapons research facility in the world probably knows how to make it. The poisoning took place only 10 kilometers, about 6 miles from a UK chemical weapon research facility, who may have actually had that substance on hand. We don't know. We're not going to know. They're not going to tell us. If you remember, during the anthrax scare in the United States, it was eventually found out that the anthrax was taken out of an American chemical weapons research facility. Just lost out of inventory. So there's not much giving me a lot of faith. So the double agent, Sergei Skripal, he was convicted in Russia of being a spy. He spent 4 years in a Russian prison. Then he was traded to the UK in a spy swap in 2010. So he was interrogated in Russia for 4 freaking years. He went to the UK and he was interrogated again. And he's been living out in the open for 8 years. So now we've got the timing of all of this. The Russian presidential election starts in 4 days. Now, they have a really long election. We make a big deal out of a one-day election. Their election goes for 3 weeks, from March 18th until April 8th. It's a big country, and, it's not all interconnected. So, some areas in deep Siberia have already been voting. They started in February. So Theresa May doesn't like Putin because Putin's not a pushover. She can't manipulate him. Of course she wants him gone. All right. In 3 months, in June, the FIFA World Cup is in Russia. So Russia was already dishonored at the Winter Olympics. Now they want to keep that trend going. So you're messing with the bear. You really are. There have been accusations against Russia from all these different countries, from the U.S., UK, France, Germany, and whoever the hell else. And how much evidence, how much proof has there been that Russia had anything to do with anything? The U.S. 2016 election, Brexit, the France elections, or anything else. How much evidence has there been? None. Absolutely none. But the whole world is watching Russia. So while the whole world is watching, their presidential election is coming up, the FIFA World Cup is coming up, they've already been dishonored at the Olympics, and they're going to pick now to use a nerve agent traceable, whose origins are traceable to Russia, to kill a double agent that's been living in the UK for 8 years after being interrogated in a Russian prison for 4 years. No. Absolutely freaking nut. That is just the dumbest shit. Who came up with this? If you believe any of this, you are a complete fucking moron. You don't have two brain cells to rub together. But all of the UK Parliament sure seems to believe it. That doesn't say a lot. Yeah, I believe all the stories about their inbreeding now. Yeah. Yeah. They all ought to move to the Ozarks or some shit. Anyway, there's nothing to believe any of this. Let's see. Yeah, so who stands to gain from this? Obviously, Theresa May. She wants to build up more power. And who else? The UK military-industrial complex. Like I said, she saw that $80 billion increase that the U.S. made, and she wants a piece of that. So they're playing by the same playbook that America has been using, with the same evidence. None. This is a march to war. Look at what else. These governments are ignoring the will of their people. None of us want to go to war with anyone, except for a few idiots. And if they want to go, send them. Fine. Send the people that want the war. Leave the rest of us alone. If you're for, just take a poll. Are you for war? Okay. Yes, you are? All right, bye. We'll see you later. They're ignoring what the people want. We want diplomacy. We want our leaders to sit down and solve problems. That's what they're supposed to be there for. They're not there to kill all of us. So while the UK is doing that, the U.S. is talking about bombing the Syrian army on an alleged chemical weapons attack, which absolutely makes no sense. The Syrian government would have nothing to gain from this. The Syrian military was already beating, again, the terrorists. Why would they do this? The Syrian and Russian militaries were trying to open up an evacuation route for the refugees, and the terrorists were firing on the evacuation route. But so the Syrian military is going to turn around and gas their own people. Bullshit. So now the U.S. government wants to bomb the Syrian military, who is supported by the Russian military. And the Russians said, if you do that, you will get a response from us. The United States military still is in Syria illegally. They have never been given authorization by the United Nations Security Council to be there. Russia is there legally. We are not. Russia has a right to respond, as does Syria. So we don't belong, but if the U.S. does this, this is going to wind up with a direct military confrontation with Russia. Make no mistake about it. And if you think that's going to turn out well, in spite of all the military bases that we've got in that region, they're already low on bombs, and they're a long freaking way from home. Look at where Russia is, right next door. So this is a march to war. It's time for us to be listening to calmer heads and more intelligent voices. Unfortunately, I don't believe that's going to happen anymore. I really don't. I think this is the last stage before the shots are fired. Yeah. So, I hope I'm wrong. Share this video and share this article. Give me an upvote or a thumbs up or whatever, and talk about this. We can't ignore this. We're beyond the point where we can ignore this. Later.